Hey guys, it's the Infamous here. Before we jump into tonight's episode, I gotta tell you about our sponsor, Audible. Audible gives you access to hundreds of thousands of audiobooks that you can listen to wherever it's convenient for you. Use our link, audibletrial.com/infamous, and not only do you get a free 30-day trial of the service, but you also get a free audiobook compliments of the show. So head to audibletrial.com/infamous, get yourself a book, and get some money back into the show. Enjoy tonight's episode.
Okay, hi. You're listening to Infamous Chronicles. Yeah. Let me down.
All right, and welcome to the next episode of the Infamous Chronicles. We are going to be tackling spirituality, alternative medicine, and the ongoing sound bath project that Natalie has been working on that we've all been able to experience here in the studio. So we're going to be diving into that a little bit. We mentioned it briefly last week, but tonight you're going to get the full scoop. This is the Infamous Chronicles. Here we go.
Turn down for what?
Do you even know what's going on?
This is the Infamous Chronicles.
The Infamous Chronicles.
Featuring the infamous
Oggy Rocks.
Casey Moran,
The Jester.
Natalie Skyy,
Chevy.
Junkie,
And Gina.
Wait, what are we doing?
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
the Infamous Chronicles starts right now.
All right, welcome to the episode where we get into exactly what sound bathing is, the concept behind it, where it started, and how our Natalie found it, and then kind of what she's been bringing to the team. And then Oggy also has a strong history in alternative medicine, spirituality, based on his
I frequently
his
bathe in sound.
frequently.
For
As a DJ.
over a decade, I have been bathing in sound. Yeah,
Well, technically, for almost 30 years, you've been bathing in sound.
it's true.
awesome.
So, 29 years and 11 months at this point, I've been bathing in sound.
Can't fucking believe you're going to be 30 this year.
It's ridiculous, right?
Mind-boggling. All right, so your roster
Everybody's
tonight,
like,
Oggy Rouse.
hi. Hey, I'm here.
Lou,
Hi.
and Natalie.
Yo, yo.
Yow. So real quick, yes, 30 years old.
I know. Everybody's like, what are you going to do on your birthday? What are you going to do on your birthday? Like,
Are you going to do a sound bath?
maybe. I have no plans right now.
A big birthday sound bath, bro?
At the beach?
We could do it. We can make it happen.
God.
At the beach, though?
We could do it at the beach.
Like, Leo Creo for the night?
Can you bring all your gear out there?
Yeah, if someone helps me carry it, for sure.
Okay, my buddy has a beach wagon. I'm sure he'll let me borrow it. That'll make things really easy. And then we could actually bring the DJ setup and the generator out there
And
after
mic
the
it up.
sound bath. Well, we could do that too.
'Cause that
But
would help.
after the sound bath, we have a party on the beach.
Let's do it.
That'd be so sick.
We might get arrested. We might get fined, but it'll be worth it.
Tonight, remind me, and I'll look and see if I can get the Leo Carrillo handicap spot, because it holds 18 people.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done and done.
October is not a time that a lot of people are scrambling to go
Yeah.
beach camping. So, but your birthday's early enough in October that it should still be like mid-70s.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Should be nice.
All right, so let's backpedal here a little bit. We're keep talking about sound bathing. We brought it up last week, like very casually and nonchalantly during our 9/11 episode of all things. So, Natalie, so you've been sound bathing for a while now as a not consumer,
As a way to cleanse your
Deal
soul.
with-
yes.
Yeah.
And now you
Yeah.
are
To life.
Yeah.
you're
To brains.
what's it called? What do you call
Teaching?
it? Teaching
I don't
sound
know.
bathing. Yeah.
Now transferred into the one who is conducting the sound
The
bath. I
wounded
think it's the proper
healer.
way. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. And a lot of people, everyone on the team's done it now. And we've got 4 people coming tonight that no one knows. And just off of a Facebook posting.
What's Sean's name on here?
Junkie, his wife is coming. But you can
Okay.
also call him Sean.
So Junkie, I came one night late. They had the whole house completely locked up like it was Fort Knox. And
Wait, before you tell the
Yeah,
story.
because you don't know the rest of
Yeah,
the story.
we have to go
Okay.
backwards. Start us off by explaining how you found sound bathing and what it is, and then I want to hear yours. Go back to the story.
So I found sound bathing or sound healing because of the two dead exes,
Mm-hmm.
and was told that from my PTSD, I was never going to be able to live a normal life. I was going to have to be medicated for the rest of my life. And after being on prescription medication for a number of years and realizing that was not the answer for me, I was just searching outwards, what else can help me move through this? How can I move through this energy and accept what happened and, change my perception of it without constantly re-traumatizing myself and reliving those days and those experiences. And sound healing was the most affordable, because for someone who's depressed that can barely get out of bed and go to work, you don't have a lot of extra funds. So that was the most affordable and easiest way that helped me work through that. I mean, you get to lay there for 90 minutes and just listen to all of these crazy sounds.
Depending on where you go.
Yeah. The ones I went to with my teacher and good friend Anna were all 90 minutes. So I started with her and ended up a year later doing her teacher training program and then kind of taking the reins because it changed my life completely. And I was like, I have got to give this to everybody. I need everyone I know to experience this. And if you hate it, you hate. If you love it, I'm so excited to give you that experience. But I've yet to have anybody be a naysayer.
Right.
I mean, you never know.
So for people that are unfamiliar, now that we have how you found it, what is sound healing and how does one receive it?
You basically get to lay there and just open your mind, open your heart. I play a bunch of different instruments, quartz, crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, huge gongs. I use an ocean drum. I use a crystal pyramid. I use koshi chimes. All of my bowls are tuned to 432 hertz, which is a frequency that is aligned with the universe. There's a lot of music that's aligned with 432 hertz that's been proven to improve the growth in plants and water. I mean, there's been different experiments where they play, rock music, rap music, folk music, whatever type of music, and anything that's with 432 hertz changes the molecular formation of the water.
Jeez.
So it goes from looking like terrible, ugly molecules to beautiful, pretty snowflakes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So technically it's supposed to go in and stir up all that pent up emotions, get rid of the dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
That's what disease really is.
So is that what the ohm is, 420 hertz?
I don't know if ohm's the 432. I know that the ohm is the sound of the universe, but I don't know if it's exactly the 432. I'll have to look into that.
All right.
Good question, though.
Stumped you there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still new. There's so much. I mean, there's an abundance of information on this, and I'm just trying
Would
to...
you say there's a whole
everything that I
universe
can.
of information out there?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then I like that, you texted me earlier today that you're bringing new stuff and you're trying to make it a variation of the experience every time you conduct the class.
Yeah, it's not necessarily different instruments, but just different information I can leave with people. I always want to give them something to take home, for the next few weeks or till the next time they have something to sit on, they can look back on, you know? Keep you focused on the positive.
Technically, everyone in this room here was here for the first sound bath, although Oggy was not on the inside. He was locked out.
I was on the outside, holding down the fort,
Poor guy.
Yeah, so now let's hear your story.
Okay, so I came over here for the sound bath 20 minutes late. They were already started. This place was locked up. Every single door, every window locked. So I sat in the backyard because I saw a cop. I was on a bike, a motorcycle that I shouldn't have been riding. So I wanted to let the cop leave, who was down the street. So I just sat in the backyard and got a bottle of water from the garage and just kicked it. So then I hear the next day or the next week, Junkie was like, there was 8 people here. Whether you know it or not, there was 8 people here. So there were 7 people inside the house, and I was on the outside of the house for a little while.
Completely unbeknownst to him.
Yeah, no one knew I was here except for me.
Until the next day.
I think it was the next week.
That's crazy.
But it gets better.
Yeah, but the plot thickens.
Mm-hmm.
Because additionally to that experience, Lou also saw you described it as an entity?
Yeah, but I didn't. Well, I saw it while I had my eyes closed.
But no, what Junkie had said afterwards, because we told him that you were here, and he said that wasn't the person I was talking about.
He said something was in the kitchen.
Yeah, on the inside of the house.
It was in the kitchen. And matter of fact, last weekend, I was talking to him about it, and I reminded him the story of your grandfather.
That's what I was going to say. It was
freaked out. I just saw these goosebumps just like...
Right. Because
I can see his eyes getting so big right now, just like...
Because that was the room of the house that my daughter would see my grandfather in. And like in the exact spot. And it was crazy because like when you're doing it, you're in this state of relaxation and you're dozing off. And the couple times that I woke up, when like all of a sudden there would be your brain machine right on top of me and you're like in my business. And I was like, oh my God, I'm awake now. I would look over at Junkie and he was propped up on his elbows, like head in his hands, like it was like a John Hughes movie, staring into the kitchen. Like every time I looked at him, and then I was like, "Oh, mental note. I'm going to talk to him about it later." And I didn't even need to because the second the lights turned on and we rewatched, I have cameras on the inside of that because I live with a wife and a daughter, so so we rewatched the footage, and sure as shit, the second it's over, Junkie like beelines to go out of his way to like wiggle away to get out of the house, and then leaves us with that comment that there was like spirits in the house, and everyone's like,
so
okay.
Could your camera see anything in the kitchen?
No, it's funny that you asked that. That was what I was looking for originally. That's what I was checking. Yeah, because I was like, oh, it records movement, it'll be on there, but the camera in that room only activates if there's movement.
Okay.
So because everyone was still, it didn't turn back on until he made a jolting movement out of the house, and then it activated the camera. So I just got that piece of him leaving.
I know you have a GoPro around here. Maybe you should start filming that part of the house.
It's right there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know there's one here. Maybe you should start filming that area of the house when these meditations are going on.
What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm open to it. I don't think it's anything bad. I told you.
Yeah,
like
I don't
before
feel like
I do
bad.
this, we do a chant for protection and a chant for calling in your guides, your ancestors, your angels. So, I mean, I think they're just trying to be like, "What's up? We're here. Use us."
Yeah,
it's so exciting. So before you found sound bath or sound healing, Natalie, were you at all connected to like spirituality and alternative medicine and natural healing, or was all of it a new door for you?
No, I was for sure. I mean, I've always been very spiritual and connected to nature and angels. But after having the second, person pass away, I was kind of like, okay, what gives?
Yeah.
Like, prove it. Like, show me that there's something else. So then I kind of opened myself up to like crazy stuff happening in my house, and then that kind of led to me being involved in the crystals and learning about the crystal healing, and it was just like one thing led to another.
Did you find that once you kind of opened your mind up a little bit more, that occurrences were more regular? Like, do you think they weren't regular because you weren't open to them?
I think they were regular. I just think I was brushing them off. I don't think I was like acknowledging them. Like, I think I was making excuses for like,
oh, someone left the window open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So Oggy, we've known each other forever, and I know your mother. Let's call her TJ for the sake of this conversation. And she's always been very connected to Mother Earth and the universe and spirituality and
what was going on in the world. Yep,
very open-minded.
It's really interesting because she knew about the things that are happening now when I was, 9, 8? When I was really young.
No, you were connected into it way before that. I mean, some of my earliest memories.
Yeah, so I was raised more natural path. But my mom had information that no one else, well, not too many people had, that's like stuff that's occurring now and like more known now that everybody knows now. But back then, everybody thought she was a fucking nutball. So it's pretty neat.
Like her son.
Yeah, totally. So that's pretty neat. And then, so I was raised going to like meditations, different things like that, going to see psychics very young who were like, well-known psychics that have been tested on by the government and made these like big careers as psychics because they were actually connected and had actual knowledge, not just like, oh, I'm a psychic, come and let me read your palm,
I mean, two of my earliest memories of, because again, you're part of the entire DNA of my memory from being a child is I remember, I think we were going to the beach with your mom and we were cruising Topanga Boulevard, and your brother, who is 4 years younger than you, right?
Yeah.
So he couldn't have been older than 5 in this scenario.
I think he was like 2 or 3.
Yeah, he was young. And I remember he pointed out to something and he was like, I've been there before.
It was the street. He said I used to live on the street and my name was Taco.
Yeah, that was a trip. And he clearly never been there before in this life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, like you said, no offense to TJ, but you know, she was the nutball mom at the time before.
That's what everybody thought.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, what is he talking about?
And she's like, oh yeah, okay, go ahead. Cool. Let me know. Tell me everything.
Exactly.
You know?
And she was
That's how she was.
And then the other thing I always remember growing up is that your mom implemented a rule in your house. You were never ever allowed to use the word want. Like you could never say like, I don't want you to do that anymore, or I want that. Like, your mom would implement the word choose.
Yeah.
Instead of the word want. And it was one of those things young when you're dumb and ignorant, you're like, what a stupid rule. But as you get older, you're like, man, it's so genius to choose to remove that word from your vernacular and implement it with a more positive word.
Yeah.
And that was just the way your house worked. And she made bomb ass menudo.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Totally
so
unrelated.
My mom's white. Married a Mexican man from Mexico. Mm-hmm. My dad was born in Mexico. All of my relatives. Oh, okay, let me go back a little farther now. So my grandmother taught my mom how to make menudo. No offense to grandma. Grandma's number 2 menudo. Mom's number 1. And all of my ancestors that are Mexican don't know how to make as good as menudo as my mom. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like the pickiest eater in the world. And I remember we would go out of our way on Sundays to come have the menudo there.
Yeah. Sundays was menudo day in my house. Yeah. It was a tradition.
With Nut Job Tanya.
Yeah. My mom would work her ass off all night, cleaning meat, cooking a bunch of shit. Like started like 5 o'clock in the afternoon Saturday to have soup by Sunday morning.
Have you guys ever had menudo? So there's a lot of interesting textures in that soup.
Menudo?
No, you have not.
Not a lot of people have. Mom hasn't made menudo in probably about. I want to say like 6 years.
I think we should trade off that she's not allowed to come back to another sound bath unless it's with a fresh steaming pot of menudo, so we can all menudo out before she gets going.
I think you'd want afterwards.
So Oggy, so growing up with that kind of alternate way of looking at growing up and people and relationships in the world, how did it affect you, like as a growing child, and the way that you looked at things like junior high, which is a very difficult time for most people? Like, how did her choice in her life affect the way that you lived yours, and how do you think you would have been if you didn't have that choice?
Well, I don't know how I wouldn't have been, or how I would have been if I didn't have that choice, because I had the choice.
Yeah.
So I have no idea, really. But I think it really broadened my horizon and showed me that there's more than just what you see. Mm-hmm. So I've always tried to look at things like in a different light, different way, try to see deeper into everything. You know what I mean?
I definitely think it's why you attract so many people to you.
I think it's just because, like, I'm a big, nice guy. Hey, how you doing? Like, hey.
Because you don't look at somebody, like when I'm with you and you look at a person, you never see their car or their job or their clothes ever. Like, it's not even something that registers on your brain. You see.
Well, yeah, because okay, if you judge everybody by the car they drove, you'd be hanging out with nothing but a bunch of assholes.
Or a bunch of hoopties.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it could go either way.
Yeah.
I really don't need this. All right, but yeah, the way I see it, I was thinking about it earlier because we went to this meditation when I was about 18. Or no, it was someone that we knew. No, scratch that. Okay, so we went to this meditation when I was like 18, 19. And I had this out-of-body experience. And it was really, really awesome. I shifted completely. My mind changed. Like, for the first time, my mind was just quiet. And I was like the only voice on my mind. Don't focus on that too hard. So I had this whole new way of seeing everything. And just like this whole new way of thinking. And that, like, I just saw everybody as just equals, just pure equals. I didn't see cars, clothes, nothing. I just kind of saw people's souls is the way. It's funny because I was actually thinking about this earlier.
Oh, it's
yeah. So it's like it's like you see people's souls. If you just focus on their being and not like everything else, you'll find way better stuff in people than you do now. You know what I mean?
But you're also really in tune with bad people too. Like, I've introduced you to people, or you've known people. And you're able to, like, just be like, I'm not friends with that guy anymore. And I'm like, why not? And you're like, just cuz.
Well, you grow with age, you learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see who people truly are, you learn your lessons.
Do you think that being as open as you have been in your life, you've unintentionally opened yourself up to more riskier people than you would have? Or
yes and no at points. You know what I mean? Because there's lessons that I needed to be taught. You know what I'm saying? So definitely.
We'll switch over to you, Lou. So you've experienced some pretty catastrophic trauma in your life. And so my question for you is, what kind of road have you walked before that and after it to connect yourself like from the non-worldly things that exist around us?
What do you mean? Like,
so in what sense did you have spirituality before your tragedy, and in what sense did it change after it?
I wasn't really spiritual beforehand.
Okay.
Not until I started having, like, I haven't had dreams with her, but I've had dreams about her. And I started to believe a lot more spiritually, like, that they do exist. When we had our first sound bath was like, that was kind of like the first time I actually saw something that, it was her smile that I saw when I closed my eyes. It wasn't something here. That's why I said it wasn't anything negative. It was definitely something positive that I felt. And I do believe that it was her. That it was her coming to me.
Are you, now that you're kind of opened your heart up a little bit more to the concept, does it help you with that occurrence a little bit better?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I think that's what I kind of accepted it a little more and opened up a lot more about it. So I'm able to, take it all in.
I love it. So Natalie, for you, when you're conducting the sound baths, do you prefer having people like Oggy and his mom that are more open and in tune with this, or do you like it better when it's people like Lou and I that have no concept of this, and that where do you feel is most impactful?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm just stoked to have people there for the experience.
Yeah.
It's not what you get out of it has no relation to how I'm feeling,
When you're done.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I love when people are stoked about it, but everyone has, their own experience and gets to take it their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anyone that was completely non-receptive?
Knock on wood, thankfully I've not had that happen yet.
This is IKEA furniture. It's not wood.
That's wood over there.
This is wood. This is wood.
Yes, that is for
Some
sure.
type of wood.
That's for sure wood over there. Actually, kind of small segue really quick. So we moved a chest into the studio that's right next to Natalie. Cool story about this chest. So Mrs. Infamous's grandfather was an Olympic athlete for USC during the 30s Olympics. And he actually... Did you ever see the Angelina Jolie movie Unbroken? About the guy that was POW during World War II, and then he was stuck at sea. Yeah. So her grandfather ran track with that guy.
Wow.
Before it, and he
a lot of energy. Is this his? Is this
yeah.
his?
So that is his chest, and it traveled the world with him while he was competing.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's very large. It's definitely real wood. It's super heavy, but it's really cool.
Beautiful.
And like inside of it are blankets that like were given to him by different countries while he was competing. So it's really cool. And obviously she's very protective of it.
It is.
So little side note on that. Yeah.
So let's jump back because Jay always gets skipped on the questions. How did spirituality affect you?
Thank you. I wouldn't say that I've gotten to the point of clarity that you have, or Natalie has, and I hope to eventually.
It's stepping stones. You got to work at it.
Absolutely. And it's funny because you multiple times and your mom attempted to expose me to it, and I was non-receptive at the time based on maturity or ego or whatever it was. And now it's funny that we've come back around full circle, and here we are, and I've got a kid, and she did it, and went through the whole sound bath process and wasn't destructive.
I was impressed. She's like 4 years old, right?
Yeah, she's 4 and made it through an hour and a half meditation.
I was pretty impressed.
So that was cool. She did fall asleep eventually, but and it was weird because Natalie does this light in the sky, And I look over at her and she's tripping out on the light and talking to it. And
That's
it was the
exactly what I
coolest.
saw.
Yeah, it was way cool.
So cute.
So for me, spirituality is more me on a personal journey because you know me, I'm a negative person by nature. I'm very judgmental and I'm trying to get away from that whole side of my character because I feel that I have a lot more to offer than what I'm willing to give most of the time based on my own stubbornness and the way that I think things should go. And so for me, the whole spirituality side of it is me getting out of my head. And that's where I've found a lot of peace at this. And we saw Jester earlier and Natalie was talking to him about it. And he had a lot of great questions and he asked me how I felt. And I told him the first time we did it, it was a novelty. You know, I was like, oh, cool. And, you know, Natalie's my friend and she was excited about it. So of course I'm going to support what she's doing. And that's what it was in my head. I was like, oh, I'm supporting a friend. But then we get to the end of it, you know, and it was, oh my gosh, I physically reacted to it. I emotionally reacted to it. I had it on my mind for like 4 days. I was texting her nonstop. Like, I told this person about it and I feel this still today. And I saw, you know, I dreamt it and these things. And then the second time it was more emotional than physical. And then the third time it was more physical than emotional. So as I'm growing, my body is receptive to it in different ways. But I'm very excited and I'm excited that Natalie's decided to include me on this journey because we're new friends too. So it's on top of us being new friends, then I have this whole other side of our friendship, you know, which connects me more to you and your family. You know, I've lived here for 3 years and your mom's never been in my house. And
she has once.
But I'm just saying like
before this month.
Now this new avenue has her back in my life. It has somebody important to you, you know, like she's now been here twice. So that's cool. And Natalie's very patient with me and non-judging on the way that I'm receptive to it. And now I've got people like there's a person coming tonight that I have not talked to since I worked at Singular. It was in 2004.
Wow. That was that long ago?
It was that long ago.
In Thousand Oaks, right?
Yeah. And so she's coming and she's asking Natalie questions on Facebook like, can I bring crystals? And how many should I bring crystals for everyone? And I'm like, there's so many people.
Never thought about that, bringing crystals.
It's just crazy.
Bring your crystals, charge them up.
Yeah.
We have a lot of crystals.
Yeah,
she's bringing them.
The truck bed, you know?
Totally.
She's bringing them for everyone
I told
tonight.
him we can do the garage too, or outside.
I'm just worried about outside. It's very loud. We're doing it at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, we could do it earlier.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, future.
But so in short, the spirituality has been very exciting. And the number one takeaway for me is that last week was my first week not taking medication for my ADD in about 6 months.
Good for you.
And although I'm not perfect and I'm still going to make mistakes daily, my relationship with Mrs. Infamous is stronger than it was 6 months ago.
Nice.
Because I find myself being more patient, which is something that she didn't need. I needed it to change in myself. It wasn't something that she wasn't causing me to be impatient. I was causing me to be impatient. So that is a growth walk, you know, and Lou's a new friend, and this is another way for us to be connecting more. So that's super exciting. And then I saw someone tonight that, you know, I've been not on the best terms with, and it was perfect. It was like we never missed a day, and I left feeling great. I got there feeling great about seeing him, and so that was cool. So
as you shift, you'll shift like completely about how the way you feel about your friends and acquaintances and stuff, and like people will come and like people that have been around forever will just fall off the face of the earth.
I think that's part of my problem is that I tend to cling to relationships and justify the benefit or the health of the relationship in my head. And definitely. You know me, I've been in long, bad relationships, both sexually, emotionally, and friend-wise, that you've told me repeatedly, or other people have told me like, yo, this is unhealthy for you. And I'm so stuck in my head that I don't listen. And now, you know, and also too, I'm not picking.
Good for you, big guy. Good for you.
Thank you. It's nice. It feels good. And I'm not picking things about people where I'm like, Oggy, this person and this person and this person, this person.
Yeah, because you can't control those things.
Exactly.
That's all just going on in your own head.
When we went to Todd, a guy that used to be on the show, he works at a restaurant now, and we went, and I asked him how he's so chill, because he's like the chillest dude I've ever met. He's always laid back. He's never judgmental. I was like, what is it? And he goes, everything that happens to me, I ask myself before I react, is there anything I can do to control this situation? And if there's not, he's like, I don't even think about it.
Well, yeah, there's nothing you can do.
But I've never been that guy. That's an entirely new concept.
Well, now
for
you're
me.
learning. You know?
I know.
You gotta learn now because your daughter's gonna be a 16-year-old before you know it.
Yep.
You know?
But had I not gone down this path with Natalie, I would have never even asked that question.
And then it's gonna be like just like the episode in Bad Boys, you know, where you're opening the door and you're like, "Who this?"
Yeah, well, you got to be the other one.
And then I come to the door and I look like a fucking Hell's Angels, my beard's to my knees probably at that point.
Beers.
I'm just walking around with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah. And then I got Natalie in the background playing crystal bowls.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you.
Saging.
Yeah. Like, all right.
That guy's never coming back.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that about dating. I say this now, obviously, because my daughter doesn't have a vagina or a breast yet. But it...
Technically...
Well, technically she does, but I mean, you know what I mean. The concept doesn't bother me. And I think it doesn't bother me because I'm confident enough in my relationship with her.
Uh-huh.
And when it happens, all I can do is tell her the truth and be there for her to tell me the truth. And if
that's
I can
why you
accomplish
started buying guns and practicing
So I
shooting now.
started- yeah, but
I understand.
I never owned a gun before I had a daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I have multiple. It just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
But I read this book called Strong Daughters, Strong Fathers, right? And the whole book, the concept of it is that a dad's role in his daughter's life, he does two things. One, a father is the first man a daughter ever falls in love with. And not love, but falls in love with, which is why you have like the daddy-daughter relationship. And the other important takeaway from it was that basically a father teaches his daughter what to look for in a man, which is why there's the concept like a daughter marries her father.
Yeah.
And it's not that literal, but obviously like you're teaching her what to look for and how to treat women.
Well, sometimes.
Good or
Not-
bad. You could also
not all the
learn
time.
you could also learn how not to be treated.
Yeah, totally.
And so like when I learned that, when I like got that concept, obviously it's scary as fuck. 'Cause I'm like, oh my
You're
God.
like, hey, I need to change like yesterday.
Everything about myself.
But you're like, this isn't working. This is gonna fuck everything up for the future.
Exactly.
I seen it. I seen when it happened. I saw it in your eyes. You're just like, fuck.
Yeah. Right when I
I
found
gotta
out.
work on myself now. I heard it.
And that's the thing.
You're
is
like,
that,
you're like, what do I do?
Right. But
you
had
literally
it-
asked me. You're like, I'm trying to change these things. What do I do?
Yep. Because if I had a son, no debauchery. Debauchery
Yeah.
left and right. And I hope I don't have a son now because I'm just saying it on record. I'm going to be a total hypocrite father. She'll be allowed to do whatever she wants and she will only be allowed to do what I want her to do.
I believe it.
For sure. But yeah, so spirituality, yes. I've connected with it really well. Thank you. I've enjoyed it. And I'm glad Natalie came into my life and exposed this to me and got me right about the way you've lived your life this whole time. Oggy, like 2 years into our friendship's like, he's just never going to get it. I'm just gonna...
Yeah, I saw it. You know, I was like, hey, he's just not ready yet. You know,
Yeah.
you just gotta let him marinate.
Oggy's mom's like, are you sure you want to be friends with that guy? You want to pick him?
You know what? A lot of people have asked me, like, why are you still friends with that guy? And I'm like, hey, listen.
You're like, I know he sucks.
Potential.
Yeah, he's got. That's
Potential.
what, you know. He's making the right changes. He's got potential. One day, he's gonna get it.
This is what I've always liked to believe about myself is that if I genuinely care about you as a friend, I believe that I go very far out of my way for you. But if I don't, then I just don't. Like, I don't give a fuck. If you are not, and you are just an object to me, which is terrible. It's the way I lived my life in the past.
Yeah.
And I've hurt a lot of people, and I've had a lot of bad karma come back in a lot of bad ways, as you've seen.
Well, when you take ADD medication, you know, it fucks with your brain, you know, as a growing person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And fucking taking Ritalin, shit's horrible.
Yeah, any of those medications. I mean,
Yeah, when you're young, you just take whatever they tell you to. And then they
Yeah,
like
your fucking
pressure.
parents give it to you, and you don't know
Exactly.
better. They don't know better. You know, it's just like, oh,
I
take my
remember
pills? All right, no big
Yeah.
deal.
we knew for sure that I had ADD by like second grade, but my mom pushed off the diagnosis because she didn't want me to be on medication. And then I was really struggling in fourth grade. I couldn't even do anything. And so we got on medication, and I almost was more affected by the impact it had on her than the impact it had on me because we were switching medications and it was like, take this dosage and then take this dosage and then get in line to go back in class and have your teacher remind you in front of everyone to go take your medicine because you're that kid. And I remember like I would see my mom crying about it and then I would feel bad about it. And it made me hate the entire concept of being on medicine for anything related to my brain. Like unless I have brain cancer and it's going to cure it, I just don't want anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah, I'm so happy my mom is who she is, and I never had to take a Ritalin.
You never took
Yeah.
any medication ever. You didn't even go to regular doctors unless it was an absolute dire emergency.
I didn't go to regular doctors from the time I was like 4 to the time I got in my car accident at like, how old was I? How old was I in 2011? It's 2017 now. 6 years.
22?
I was 24.
24.
Right? Yeah.
Roughly. So for 20
23.
years.
23, because it's 6 years.
20 years, no medicine.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he turned out that good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all natural right there.
It's that natural life, you know. That's why my face looks so young. Everybody tells me I look so young, you know, because I'm not stressed out from the chemicals.
Have you ever seen a picture of Oggy without a beard?
No.
It's like looking
Not
at
yet.
it. It's like looking at a cherub. It's like looking directly at a blonde, blue-eyed cherub. And it's funny because Oggy
Earth angel.
Oggy has his dad's face with his mom's features, 1000%. Like he looks exactly like his father with his mother's eyes and hair.
Yeah.
And ass. For sure.
No, this is my ass. I had to earn this by walking up and down like 100 steps at a time with 100-pound concrete bags. That's all me.
It's all.
Once upon a time it was flat.
It's all glutes right there.
Yeah, it's all squats.
So
Shots and squats.
Now I have a question for you. Switching gears here, as you've gone down and become more adept to this role of spirituality in your life, I'm sure just like Oggy, you've had good friends that have not been receptive to this new lifestyle change. How do you filter out the noise and the negativity and still be positive about those relationships, or do you just kind of say, you know what, this is not healthy anymore?
If it's bringing me more turmoil than it's bringing positivity to the relationship, it's time to let it go. Not necessarily, not saying that like I don't love that person, but I'm not gonna keep, myself in a relationship that's negative. It's bad for me.
Yeah.
And I just went through that recently with some friends. The last few months of the last few years have been me really digging in deep, trying to move through the grief and deal with all of that stuff that had, been swept under the rug. And I would tell people, like, I need your help. Like, I'm so many miles away from my friends, from my family. Like, just reach out, give me a call, like something.
Right.
And they'd be like, yeah, for sure, we're there. And then it would be crickets. And it's like, you can only ask like so many times. And then, they'll post on Facebook, like, we're here for, if you're going to, the suicide thing, call me. And it's like, I've been telling you. And like, I can't even get you guys to like respond to a text. It just, life's about choices. So everyone has a choice. And it's not that I have, any ill intention or, wish them harm.
Yeah.
But it was just time to move on. Like I'm going to bigger, better, higher places, and that's okay that they're not ready for that.
Right.
But it was time to sever that tie.
Yeah. Now, Lou, I know that you are arguably the sweetest person any of us have ever met. You're super kind and super positive and very polite and very humble. How, for our listeners that are similar in personality to you, how do you determine unhealthy relationships and still be like as kind and patient with people? I mean, I've seen you around people you didn't like, and no one would ever know in a million years. And you're not fake. You just don't let it bother you. How do you get that kind of peace and clarity?
Well, considering that I had a really huge loss in my life, I don't have time to hate or be negative. My daughter's death brought a lot of it was a huge eye opener to who is like what you could say true friends. The positive and the negative, and a lot of it brought a lot of positive to my life because it opened my eyes. But I have no reason to be negative towards anybody. I don't care if that person hates me. I'll still be nice to them.
I would like very much to have a little bit of that juju inside of me.
Have to be.
Absolutely. So we're gonna finish with you, Natalie. I'd like to know, like, through your words. Obviously, we'll do invites to baths here. That the listeners are welcome to join us if you're in the area. But where do you want to take this, and where can people find this in their towns that don't live here in LA? What's the best way to get exposure to any kind of spiritual healing?
I would Google sound healing, sound baths. You could probably find something in your area for that, and just go and try it anywhere. I mean, we're a community, so I support any type of healers around the world, and anyone trying to just better the planet. I mean, we're all here for a reason, and it's just building that consciousness that, we're all here to help each other. Like we were all brought together, like not by accident, like Lou being a fan of Sons and us building a friendship and a bond, through that, and with her daughter passing,
Yeah.
we all loved and met Reese, and her bringing me onto the show to meet you guys. I mean, everyone brings a piece of the puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they can find it anywhere. I mean, it's all over right now.
We were really surprised because you were not at all the bitchy conniver that
Hooker.
Linda made it out to be that you were.
Never.
She's like, you got to be careful with this one coming on.
Yeah, she's vindictive. Yeah.
So
Lot to handle.
are you going to post, like, I know you booked a sound bath outside of this over the weekend. Is there a way for listeners to book private sound baths, or are you waiting till you get the studio?
Well, right now I pretty much have all the ones that I'm booking are private. So
Okay.
I'm looking, if anyone has space they want to rent out, if you want me to come to your place and open up to your friends. I mean, I'm like the traveling circus, I like to call it. I mean, I load up the car and hit the road. So I have some going on. I have some friends out in Temecula. My family's back in the Bay Area. I want to help people. So I don't think we need to, live in this misery this rat race that we're stuck in. There's so much more for, why we're here.
Yeah.
So, but I will be posting. I'm looking for spaces right now. As soon as I have some spaces rented, then they will be posted through Instagram and Facebook. My sound healing's Ananda Sound Healing. So you can find that through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we will be posting information through our social media to invite. We have limited space, but
Extremely limited.
Yeah. Natalie's part of the show now, so we make her bring her stuff on Monday. So if
I
you
love
guys,
it.
if anyone ever wants to participate, feel free to reach out to us directly. Lou handles our social media, so she will definitely answer right away. And like I said, even though we have limited space, we're open to anyone coming, and anyone here would gladly give up their spot if it's somebody that's trying it for the first time.
You
Absolutely.
can always make room.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We'll move the ghost kitchen stuff out of the way and then lay some stuff down in there too. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this week. I would like to personally own and apologize for the poor release schedule. I've had a lot of personal projects going on, and a lot of the... Go ahead. Let it out.
Got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
A lot of the support leadership in the show has transitioned out. So, not making excuses, but we're doing the best that we
Got
can.
'em.
Augie has bronchitis.
Be patient with us.
Yeah, be patient with us. It's going out. Sorry that the 9/11 episode was late. It didn't, inexcusable, but it is there. And thank you for your patience. And we will see you guys back here next week. Just a little reminder, we did start another show called Nerd Chronicles. It's myself and Junkie. It's all things geek and nerdy. It's a lot of fun. It's very lame, but it's really fun. Our first episode is premiering this Friday, so definitely check that out. And otherwise, follow Natalie. Get connected to this. Do your own research. There's a lot of other different spiritual healings that we encourage you to participate in. And we are going to harass Augie's mom until she lets us take the field trip out to the healing water property that she has, because we definitely wanna do that.
So there's like a mobile home on it, but it's full of shit. Like it's been sitting for like 12 years.
We'll tent that shit up.
Yeah, we can camp there.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
cold.
totally
Yeah,
down.
we got land we can camp on.
Absolutely.
There's no
We got
there's
the
an
yurt
outhouse.
to put up.
There's an Augie, this is me you're talking to here. I don't need a toilet.
All right, that's just as long as everybody knows going into it. Like I used to outhouse for years building a house in Mexico.
Yeah. I'm getting healed, bro.
Yeah,
The outhouse is the least of my problems.
yeah.
All right, this has been the Infamous Chronicles. You guys have a great week. Thank you very much.
If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. Our show is produced by Jeremy Elder, talent acquisition is done by Casey Moran, and operations directed by Paul Sinacori. This show is copywritten Infamous Works, LLC, 2016. All rights are reserved. All of our guests appear signed via waivers. We don't own the rights to any of the music featured on our show. We are just fans of it. Visit us at infamousworks.com or call our offices at 844-4-INFAMOUS.